Mohamed Zakariya. The art of calligraphy brought him to Islam. One day, in the month of Ramadan, the port of Casablanca, Morocco was bustling with shipping activity. Some ships dropped anchor, others docked. An old cargo ship flying the Yugoslav flag had just arrived in Casablanca after sailing from the United States, US. It was on that ship that Mohamed Zakariya, who would later become one of the world's most famous calligraphers, began his journey in search of the true meaning of life. As soon as he set foot in the Maghreb country, Zakariya, who was only 19 years old at that time, was immediately engulfed in the atmosphere of Ramadan. As soon as he arrived in Morocco, he saw an old man in a robe with a bright yellow turban passing by the harbor. Instantly, you will feel that everything is very different there, Zakariya told a magazine published in the US some time ago. The white man, born in Ventura, California 69 years ago, then followed the man in the robe. Apparently, the man in the robe was heading to a mosque to break his fast. How disappointed Zakariya was when he couldn't come in because he wasn't Muslim. He ended up spending the night talking about Islam with a Jew in a coffee shop. He felt happy because he found those who agreed in interpreting life based on material factors. Zakariya cannot deny that he left for Morocco with an uncertain heart. As a child, Zakariya grew up in the care of his relatives. His father was called to defend the country in World War II, while his mother suffered from tuberculosis. After the war, his father got a job as a director in Hollywood. The Zakariya family's economy gradually improved, and they gained a respectable position in society. Zakariya should be able to live life like most teenagers. He actually felt fed up with the surrounding environment, which was full of falsehoods. As an escape, he chooses to hang out on the streets of Los Angeles with a group of eccentric buskers. At school, he joined a delinquent gang. Once, he broke a classmate's teeth with a chain. I was expelled from class after that incident. Once you've done that, you feel disgusting, said Zakariya, remembering. When he turned 18, Zakariya left home and lived in a repair shop near Malibu. He got a job at an aircraft components factory. At first, he liked something new, but soon boredom gripped him. Young Zakariya became an alcoholic. In the midst of his boredom, he felt the need for adventure. A travel agent advised him to travel to Morocco. Moreover, at that time there was a Yugoslav cargo ship that was willing to deliver for just $50. The return trip from Casablanca to New York also made a deep impression on Zakariya. The old cargo ship was caught in a storm in the Atlantic waters. High waves hit and the ship's engine was damaged. Zakariya and his crew were adrift at sea for several days. The ship, whose engine had problems, finally made it to New York Harbor. When he returned to California, Zakariya realized that the lifestyle of drinking and promiscuity he had been living in Malibu could not fulfill his inner needs. On the one hand, he has indeed managed to escape from his parents' life full of falsehoods. On the other hand, he ended up being trapped in a situation he didn't like even more. He wanted to break through the situation at that time, especially since his trip to Morocco had opened his eyes to Islam. A few weeks later, Zakariya was again reminded of the beauty of Islam. While walking along Wilshire Boulevard, Malibu, his gaze fell on a piece of Persian carpet with a calligraphy pattern. Unfortunately, the price is too expensive. Zakariya thought, if I can't buy such a beautiful thing, I will make it myself. Then he found an Arabic study guide and bought a hand-copy Quran from the 19th century. He also started learning calligraphy autodidactically. Initially, he tried to understand the meaning of the text engraved through the Quran translated into English. Gradually, he mastered Arabic. Therefore, by becoming a calligrapher, he also indirectly studied the contents of the Quran. Slowly, his views on false religion and mere worship changed. He believes the Quran can make him a better human being. When he was being looked after by his relatives as a child, Zakariya was often put to sleep reading verses from the Old Testament. That was his first identity. Then, the glamorous Hollywood-style life he lives with his family is his second identity. His celibacy period in Malibu became another identity for him. I was once an artificial person. Islam peeled those false layers from my soul, he explained. Zakariya was determined to return to Morocco as a Muslim. Zakariya also became a Muslim. He said the Shahada in the only mosque in Los Angeles at that time. It took him 3 hours to get to the mosque. As soon as he fulfilled the first pillar of Islam, a witness advised him to use the name Rasulullah as a sign of hijrah. 3 years later, he fulfilled his promise to himself to return to Morocco when he converted to Islam. In the early 1970s, Zakariya moved to Arlington, Virginia, and started a family. He started exhibiting his work and received good reviews. The more Zakariya immersed himself in his artistic work, the stronger his bond with the Almighty of Beauty became. He is grateful for the good things that have happened in his life, including his family's acceptance of his conversion to Islam. In his final seconds, his mother understood the power of religion for Zakariya. For Zakariya, Islamic life in the US has changed a lot compared to when he first converted to Islam. Now, he feels that religion is often used as a political tool, and this makes him unhappy. However, Zakariya's commitment to Islam has not changed. He continues to study calligraphy because he feels close to Allah when he is doing his work. His power continues to move me from within, he said. Mohamed Zakariya, calligrapher from America. Don't be afraid to learn calligraphy as you get older. Mohamed Zakariya studied calligraphy at the age of 44. Mohamed Zakariya was born in 1942 in Ventura, California. He is a Native American master of Islamic calligraphy. His most well-known work is a stamp design with the theme of the Eid al-Fitr holiday, which he decorated with Arabic calligraphy. His interest in Islamic calligraphy began as a child when he saw Islamic calligraphy hanging on the wall of a carpet shop in Santa Monica. At that time, he thought, if I can't afford it, I'll make it. Furthermore, it was his visit to Morocco that changed his life a lot. He was impressed by its culture, religion, and language. This is what then led him to convert to Islam. Several years later, he returned to visit Muslim countries including Egypt, Algeria, and Turkey. He began studying calligraphy autodidactically. Returning to America, he received advice from an art curator to return to Turkey and practice calligraphy from the masters there. In 1984, he received an offer to study calligraphy with international calligraphy master Hasan Celebi in Istanbul, Turkey. Mohamed Zakariya said that he was in Dr. Ekmeleddin Ihsanoglu, together with Hasan Celebi. Dr. Ekmeleddin said to him, "Let us offer you something. In order for you to make progress in calligraphy, you have to abandon everything you have learned and start from scratch. The one who will be your teacher is Hasan Celebi. If you accept, we will help you." At that time, Mohamed Zakariya was hesitant. He is 44 years old, and he has been studying calligraphy autodidactically for many years. He admitted that he did have obstacles in learning calligraphy, but he has calligraphy skills. However, the people at the Saika office seemed to underestimate his abilities. Mohamed Zakariya accepted it. He was invited to the Jami Salami Ali Mosque, where Hasan Celebi has works there. Mohamed Zakariya was amazed to see the calligraphy that decorated the interior of the mosque. He was immersed in the fantasia of calligraphy. That's when he was convinced that Hasan Celebi was truly a master. After prayer, the first lesson begins. He was given 2 bamboo pens, paper, and ink. The teacher wrote masyak containing 2 lines of writing, one sulutz and the other naski. Hasan Celebi does not teach each calligraphy separately, but teaches 2 models at once. Mohamed Zakariya only spent a month in Turkey, so every day he came to Hasan Celebi and studied for hours until late at night. After that, he returned to America and continued his studies by correspondence. In 1988, Zakariya received a diploma as a master of calligraphy in the field of sulutz and naski from Hasan Celebi. In 1997, he received a diploma in Farisi Talik calligraphy from a calligraphy master, Dr. Ali Parshan. Currently, Mohamed Zakariya continues his profession as a calligrapher in America and has several students. He also exhibits many of his works solo. The following is an example of his work. All materials contained on this site, including text and graphics, are the property of Mohamed Zakariya's site.